Greetings, fellow DC superfans. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
After getting educated in all things DCAU Batman, I've decided it's time to embark on a journey to the Arctic to learn about Superman, the animated series. Aiding me along the way is BlueDragonFive.
That's right, folks. Like Jor-El, I'm serving as Tiki's pre-recorded guide through Superman the Animated Series, with the goal of shedding light and showing Tiki the way to better understand the history of The Last Son of Krypton.
So let's fly to the Fortress of Recaps and talk double dose. All right. So Dragon, this is a classic setup that we have in the DCAU where it's like kind of a villain sequel story, if you will. We're gonna team a couple previous villains up. Dragon, I'm mixed on this episode, but I lean more positive on it. I think there's a lot of stuff to really like about it. I love the ending of this episode. um Honestly, for me, the weakest element of this episode, and it's not even that it's bad, it's just like the the writing on the character just gets a little bit grating, is just Livewire herself. And the only reason I say that is that the writing on her is very like Bugs Bunny. It's like she's got to have some sort of like snappy insult at literally everything that comes out of her mouth, and it can just get a little exhausting. But other than that, I mean, there's some interesting stuff in here, and there's definitely some really cool like individual moments and action beats and bits of animation that I think really stand out. There's a weird kind of like sexual harassment undertone to this episode that I don't really know if they realized they were touching on it so deeply, but yeah, it almost kind of feels like they kind of stumbled onto something there that's was maybe a little bit ahead of its time. So yeah, definitely an interesting episode. You know, it's kind of like I said, we've seen this type of episode before. I don't think this beats something like the what was it, Clayface and Baby Doll Dragon?
What do you mean, Baby Doll and Killer Croc?
Killer Croc, yeah. I don't think it lives up to something like that, but it's still a fun episode. You know, fun little second appearance for these characters. I think by the end, Parasite honestly kind of overshadows Livewire in her own episode, though. So yeah, so like I said, overall I'm definitely leaning positive on it, but not like super glowing about it. But there's definitely elements of this episode that I really like. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
All right. So, yeah, there's really not a lot on this one. So this was directed by Yuichiro Yano. Yuichiro Yano did My Girl, and also from Batman the Animated, from the new Batman Adventures, did Over the Edge.
Nice.
Yeah. The writer on this was Hilary J. Bader, who wrote My Girl and also did action figures, when we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
So studio worked on this. An old favorite around the holidays, Coco with some yummy marshmallows of Dong Yang. Of course, the studio was very much the house studio for Batman the Animated Series and many others, and basically became the house studio for the DCAU's look in general. They did Livewire, the first Livewire episode, and Feeding Time, the first Parasite episode. So very appropriate they do the crossover. So all I can really tell you is like pretty much that. You know, this was a sequel to Livewire and Two's a Crowd. So the last time we saw these characters, we kind of pick up with them where we left off, and it's pretty much an excuse. Let's take our original character and pair her with somebody who makes a lot of sense, which would be the Parasite. We have an electrical based character. We have a character who's very power hungry. These two feel like a natural fit for each other, and what would come from that? There is a lot of innuendo in the episode, and I don't think it's by accident.
No, I don't think it's by accident either. But like I said, I kind of feel like they're almost like there's like some sort of political statement to be made here that I don't even think they really realized they were making.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the fact you have a guy whose powers are touch-based, and you have an original character who, again, that wasn't the intention when they created Livewire, but it was like, hey, Livewire, kind of the attractive Bruce Timm school of design, coupled
Sure.
with touch-based villains. So, you gotta have to acknowledge it somewhere in the writing, I
Things are going to
guess.
get handsy.
Yeah, very handsy.
Right.
All right, so
Okay, so
let's
yeah.
break it down.
What? Sorry.
No, I said let's break it down. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for sure, for sure. So we start with Danny Boy.
Yes. So Livewire is that basically they don't fully spell it out for you here. Last time we left Livewire, she was Lex Luthor because he was entertained by somebody like trash talking Superman. He funded her treatment after she got short circuited by Superman, and presumably she's been put up at kind of Star Labs. In this case, kind of a Star Labs cell, kind of this prison for Star Labs, where they're kind of researching ways to help and kind of reintegrate the villains.
Mm-hmm.
So Livewire basically she wants out, and old Danny Boy here, this very '90s looking janitor at Star
I
Labs,
love
which I
his
like.
design.
I love the fact that it's a janitor that are the keys to her escape and the keys to her revenge. This episode with because janitors have many keys, that big old ring full of keys, but no, the janitor. It's kind of in reference to Rudy Jones. He was a janitor at Star Labs, so it's kind of like a little acknowledgement of that.
Okay. I appreciate
Anyway,
the
so
fact that with the design, he's not like, just like an idiot teenager who fucks up his job. He's just kind of like a schlubby everyman sort of character.
oh yeah, so yeah, they're kind of bonding over music for a bit. She's like calling his attention, like, "Hey, I love my favorite details, like the security guy. He like calls him out on the watch, but not the Walkman. That's kind of that leads to his doom here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So yeah, so he passes hers. My favorite gag in this, by the way, if you look, it's a subtle design gag. Livewire cell, she has a bookshelf. It's like the last character who would want to read anything. She gets a bookshelf. Because again, you can't give her anything electronic for obvious reasons. So like, well, we gotta give her something. Maybe she'll educate her. I don't know. So they bought. Educate yourself. So they bond over music, and again, this plays into a thing with her is that she's a shock jock. She's a conversational. She interviewed people for a living, so she can easily.
Oh, I forgot about that element of her personality. Okay,
that's why she's so Bugs Bunny and chatty, Tiki.
Right. I guess that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. I'm still not crazy about it. I still think it's a little exhausting, but
but the boy can be taught. So basically this Danny, this poor sap, he fell for it, and she ends up basically zapping the charge from the batteries and just enough for her escape, and says, "Oh, the batteries are dead," and she escapes. "Oh, they're rechargeable," and zaps them, which is a little mean because that guy helped her escape. She didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some really creative power uses for Livewire here. We got to give credit to it. The way she travels, she's traveling through the power grids, and like I love that she hijacks the little golf cart.
Right.
Just have some schlubs, another schlub, a lot of schlubs at Starlab, some other schlubby guys just kind of eating lunch in his golf cart, and then she just hijacks the golf cart. And then we have this gag, which you're right, is as Bugs Bunny as it gets, but it's a nice little Dan Turpin. So Dan Turpin's going to press conference about how we're going to.
No, okay. I really like this moment actually.
Yeah.
I think the animation sells it. I think just it's very dynamic the way it's animated.
So good old Dan Turpin, who of course remember Dan Turpin is a loving homage to Jack Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much Jack Kirby is kind of Bullock, more or less. He's basically giving a press conference about how they're working with Superman is working with the SCU to track down Livewire, and right, of course, as he says it, she appears. She appears right out of the microphone, and he pulls a Bugs Bunny and just kisses him, and of course, in kissing him, poor Dan Turpin is shocked. I will to say the least. He's shocked by the kiss.
Like I said, I think the like the lighting on the sequence is really flashy and cool.
Mm-hmm.
The comedic timing actually really works here.
Oh yeah,
it's one of the times in the episode where the Bugs Bunny stuff actually works. I think. Like the thing is, I think the Bugs Bunny stuff can work, and obviously it fits her shock jock character. Of course, it's just grating that it's literally every single line of dialogue that comes out of her mouth.
I mean, you gotta remember, T, this episode, there's like a Looney Tunes vibe to this episode because there's kind of like a little bit of Pepe Le Pew going on. There's a little bit of,
A
you
little
know.
bit.
Anyway, so of course, I felt really bad for Dan Turner because if you notice, like all like the speakers blow out during the kiss too, where it's like, oh man, that's building charge right there. It's like, so I'm going like, ouch, and then he says, wow, he just topples over. Anyway, so then Livewire and Superman, they have their rematch. They mix it up there, and of course she's throwing. Now I want to mention this. So Rich Fogel, he didn't write this episode, but he was involved in the show, but he was mostly a Justice League guy. I think he had a little bit on Superman. I forget if we hit a Rich Fogel episode already or not. But point being, Rich Fogel ended up being kind of one of the go-to writers and one of the go-to writers for the DCAU, particularly Justice League Onward, and he I watched. He's doing an interview with. There's this kind of rewatch podcast for Justice League with Susan Eisenberg, voice of Wonder Woman. It's really good, and she has on a lot of the talent. And he mentioned this rule in how they wrote Superman in the DCAU, which they kind of got away from. Basically, they abided by it in Justice League Season 1, but the Justice League Season 1's problem was that they made Superman too weak by comparison, and that's what people complained about. And then Season 2, they made up for that. Anyway, so Rich Fogel's rule for Superman, I want to say since Superman the Animated Series onwards, that basically called the Houdini rule. Of course, Houdini, infamously, was the whole he challenged people to punch him in the stomach because he had like abs of steel as part of his trickery. But here's the thing, though. Of course, what ultimately debatably killed him, or at least led to his death, debatably, was he basically if you punched him without giving him warning, and that's kind of that was the logic with Superman. The idea is if he can brace himself, he'll be fine. But often these villains take him by surprise, which is then kind of leading to kind of that Flesher Superman logic, like the electric shock's not going to kill him. It's like the Bob Parr thing from Incredibles. The train won't kill him, but it's going to knock him. It's going to knock him for a loop.
Yeah, makes sense. Sure,
it's a train. It's being hit by a train anyway. So this one always hurt. Every time I think of Livewire, I always think of this clip. So they're fighting, and let's get to the heart of the matter. And she just does this almost this defibrillator kind of shot to his chest. It's like, oh my god, he's Superman, but that hurts. Just looking at that, wow. So anyway, so she demands justice. She demands revenge. She demands Superman's life. So she hasn't let time heal any wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So the fight moves to the streets. Superman, being super smart, he uses the fire hydrant to try and short her out. She has her on the ropes, and she flees, so she avoids being short out like last time. And I love how when she escapes, she's on the television, which is a foreshadow for where she shows up next.
Yeah, I really like the. Are you going to talk about the TV thing? Because I really like.
Well, yeah, but it's a nice transition point, though. I like that. He goes into the TV from one end, and she ends up on the other end.
That's another just really cool moment. I just feel like this episode has some pretty cinematic moments and visuals that I really like. I feel that kind of elevate it.
Yeah. So we're at Stryker's Island, which is we're basically kind of Superman's version of Arkham and Blackgate's, where the supervillains go. Kind of a version of Rikers Island from New York. Parasite's enjoying his TV privileges. Now, this is how he ended Two as a Crowd. It was the great thing where he could have betrayed Superman, but he wanted his cable TV in prison. He stuck to his simple wants, and so he's enjoying his reward, which is how he ended that episode too. Him laughing it up on the on the TV cell.
Mm-hmm.
So he's watching Letterman, and then Livewire appears on the screen.
Yeah.
Yep. So I love how she can do that. I love she's mimicking David Letterman's stupid pet tricks. Just she's on the TV and she's.
And I'm sorry the moment I was thinking of Dragon. I'm sorry. You probably went over it and I missed it. Is when she appears on kind of like the Jumbotron, basically doing the whole I'll be back, Superman.
Oh, that the transition. So yeah, when she.
Oh yeah. So the transition is the moment I was talking. I really like that moment. It's just it's very cinematic. The fact that the screens kind of blow out. I don't know. But yeah, this is a good introduction to her as far as the Parasite stuff goes. And also, Dragon, really quick, just going to shout out Ancient B65. Happy to have you, dude. Saying I always love how the heroes are aliens that act human, while the villains are humans pretending to be gods.
Yeah.
Good observation. Good observation. Good thesis there for the DCAU. Let's see. He also says, "What's ironic is that Parasite is all bite and no bark, and in contrast to Livewire's all bark, no bite." Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Of course, it makes it funny with her mimicking the stupid pet tricks, like "Bow wow, Rudy." You know, she's. All right, let's see. So she appears in the cell and she invites him to cause some trouble, and there's a lot of seductive innuendo. Basically, the gag here being that Parasite, they got away with it pretty. Again, you basically, if it were any other network but Kids WB, you can get
Right.
Kids WB. Don't let the name fool you. They're an edgy
Kids
bunch.
WB is just like, ooh, sexual harassment. Don't mind if I do.
So that's the thing. So here it's kind of they snuck it in a really clever way in that not even snuck it in because again, Kids WB, they're a bloodthirsty bunch over there. It's just the idea that he's starved for power and like absorbing power, and like you have a walking battery. He's walked into a cell, so it's kind of like feeding time to him. But by the same token, he's been alone and in prison, and very intentionally in the dialogue, she's playing to the sympathies there of like, oh, poor Rudy, all alone and all that, etc. So it's like she's definitely there's a seduction going on there, but maybe the gag is like, I mean, she kind of knows he's after the power, but it's also maybe a little bit like kind of flirting with him as well, just to kind of get what she wants.
Sure.
So she's mocking him for selling for the TV, and she manipulates him with the sales pitch for a team up. And I've been where you are, Rudy. No one to see, no one to touch. And of course, the way we're framing the camera, he could be observing curves, or he could be observing like kind of shapely power. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Again, living energy, very attractive to him. So help me take out Superman. I'll give you. And this is the most innuendo laden part of the whole thing. He says, help me take out Superman, and I'll offer you a taste. And then we pan up of my power. I mean, it's like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm definitely never one to be like, oh, the woman was asking for it, but she's being very suggestive.
Yeah. So anyway, the point being, he's sold. Whether it be for lunch or anything else, he's sold.
But Jim, it's lunch.
And it's great that we kind of demonstrate we get the innuendo becomes less innuendo. We demonstrate it with all the prisoners at the cells. Beckett, again, there's a lady walking through a men's prison. It's like hey, they're all going nuts for. And then they see a woman. It's basically the Tex Avery wolf, just not as funny. Basically, and she zaps the bars, zaps the crap out of them. Yep. Anyway, so. Let's see. After that, okay. So I love they casually exit the prison. Like the guard is like, "What the?" And then Parasite just leeches off the guard. So he basically gets information for how to escape the prison. Mm-hmm. With this, this fun. I like this joke too. Like don't play with your food now. So he uses his powers to pick up some skills to escape. Like there's some guys by a boat. He learns how to drive a boat and offers her a ride, but she does not like water, which is a setup for Act 3, and she takes the power lines.
I mean, a boat's a boat, but a mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Could even be a boat.
All right. Sorry, I could resist.
And you remember where that led him, don't you?
To the comedy club, yes.
Yep, to the comedy club. So of all Family Guy references,
life.
Yep, Tiki did not take the boat. In case anyone's wondering, he chose the box,
the mystery box.
Yeah, hop in.
Dragon, you know what? I've got a 30-minute set in August. I'm going to be fucking getting all the tip money. All the tip money is going to be mine that night.
If anyone has trouble falling asleep, I recommend they go see Tiki's act.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking savage.
Okay, you're flaunting 30 minutes. That's what you get, man. 30 minutes of you. Come on.
It's definitely the most screen stage time I've ever gotten, so I'm excited. Anyway,
you should pull an Andy Kaufman. You should go on stage, sit down, and like, who wants to come up and podcast with me? That's what you.
Oh my god, dude!
We'll have a conversation and see who laughs. All right. So, okay, so we have this nice gag where we have Lois and Clark. They're grabbing hot dogs. Lois is getting a little skittish about all the electronics around her, thinking Livewire is going to pop out. And Superman, he hears the prison alarm sound, and using his supervision, he sees Parasite. And we have this really great joke, or it's like, I'm going to go find a phone. She pulls out her cell phone. It's the '90s. She pulls out like her clunky cell phone.
Right.
Like, here, use mine. He's gone. Clark, hey, Smallville. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a nice sequence here, and I love this. The danger of we never forget the danger of Parasite in the DCAU, which this take on the characters, Superman cannot be touched by this guy, because if he gets touched and we pay it off later, he will get his memories and he will find out that Clark Kent is Superman. Last time, he kind of zapped his brain by using the kryptonite and just like the shock, Superman lucked out on that one. Second time may not be so lucky. Emphasis on may. He may not be.
To be fair, he does basically luck out just as much.
Well, I know that's why Tiki. That's why I emphasized may.
Right.
It was still a risk. He got very lucky. Okay, that was like doing Toy Story 4 and then 5. He lucked out. He let it ride.
Yeah. Good comparison.
Anyway, but with that in mind, I like the staging of the action here, where he's grabbing the boat and he's making sure Parasite. He grabs a shotgun, tries to get his hand through there. He's not letting them do it. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. We have some contenders for the daily, Tim. On the rewatch, I kind of kept picking different ones.
Honestly, there's not a lot of Tim. It's a lot of Livewire. Like Livewire takes up like the lion's share of the actual voice acting this episode.
Like here you have like sorry, Rudy.
Honestly, Dragon, I would give the daily Tim to the last line of the episode. If I'm being
honest.
That's
the thing. I agree with you. It's like that.
Yeah,
there might have been one other, but we'll get there. But this was kind of like a maybe. This was like sorry, Rudy. I'm canceling your early release.
That's good. That is a good one. Yeah.
So let's see. So anyway, we have the bit where Parasite jumps the shark. Not the show, just Parasite. Parasite jumps onto a shark. He absorbs the sharks, and now he can swim like a shark. And against the thing, oh god, is he?
Which again, another like really cool cinematic visual, which this episode just kind of like weirdly is excelling in.
Yeah. So he escapes to land through a pipe, which then leads to the subway hideout, in which Livewire is. She basically lays out the plan, and I love she calls him the Purple People Eater, which is a great joke for Parasite.
Mm-hmm.
So Livewire basically, she's going to force Superman into Parasite's grip. So Parasite's going to weaken him, but not kill him, so she can deliver the final blow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have, let's see. And then we have kind of like, we have the weird and interesting, again, we kind of mentioned this earlier, like the weird and interesting kind of subtext. It's like the old adage, with these two, where it's like everything's like, what was it, like the whole power sex analogy, the whole like sex isn't...
I mean, the vibe that I get from it is that Parasite is like basically an incel, like where, he like basically like, I almost kind of get the vibe that like he knows of the other like supervillain power couples, like he knows about Baby Doll and Killer Croc and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh yeah, me and her, we've got that. We've got the sexual tension going on, but he just doesn't get it. He's just totally clueless. Like I said, it's the incel thing because it's like he feels like it's something that, like, by fault he's owed just because he's working with her.
Well, for sure. I mean, he's been kind of promised something, but not specifically. Like, for example, she's saying, "Look, don't touch." Here,
I mean, she made a very good, like, she made a very distinct point to be like, "No, this is not like a sexual thing." Like,
well, no, here, yeah,
she was
you're right
upfront about that.
Yeah. So she is playing with fire here, and that's the thing. Like Livewire, she doesn't really think about these warnings, the warning signs. By the way, though, it's kind of like a little bit like that. It's kind of an interesting twist on the whole, given that they're literally about power and energy and stuff. It's kind of like the whole like sex is about power and power.
No, honestly, yeah. Like I said, I do think genuinely like. There's more going on here on like a social commentary level than the writers I think were even probably anticipating.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
No, for sure, yeah. But again, Stu, if it were any network with kids WB, they would never get. They would never get. For example, it's like, oh, you smell like this bit. To me, I was shocked, honestly, on the rewatch. Like, oh, you smell like fish. Well, then hold your nose.
Oh God! Oh man!
Anyway, so then we have like the whole look, don't touch thing, which this is like, hey, I know how to control my powers. Yeah, sure, I've heard that one before.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, so
Man, am I right?
So then we have some Looney Tune stuff here. She zaps him, just zaps him. What for? No means no. She spells it out very directly there, and she
Which
exits
honestly,
via.
low key, that in that moment, like low key, kind of feminist icon vibes.
Yeah, someone cue the Leslie Gore music. You don't own me.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, so she exits through the TV, which I love when she does that.
Uh-huh.
We go to the Daily Planet. Lois has now this is really good here. So Lois, she has some exposition with Clark. I really like this. Like Clark's kind of looking out the window here at the rain and the storm and everything. And this is a kind of another contender for Daily Tim, maybe. Where it says like, "Oh, you're worried about he's looking at the storm. It's going to get worse before it gets better." It's kind of a stoic line.
Darkest before the dawn.
Yeah, I stole that from Batman.
Technically, I stole it from Harvey Dent.
Well, he fell off the building, so it's mine now. Yeah, sure, he fell. He fell. All right, he fell.
God, all right, let's
so that road. So Lois heads out wearing the poncho, and I love this. So she's wearing the plastic poncho, which gives Clark the idea, like, it's a great light bulb moment for him. I love this idea so much. So Livewire and Parasite are there. They break into a power plant to juice up and bait Superman to try and get him so they can ambush him. Parasite, his leech-like instincts are taking over. He's trying to, siphon off some of Livewire's.
Dude, it's like he can't help himself. Like in the middle of work, it's very inappropriate.
I like the dude. Like, says, "Can't you see I'm eating?" It's almost like an old married couple kind of thing. It's like, "Get off me! I'm reading." So Superman arrives, and he is now. This is such. It's silly but perfect at the same. So Superman arrives.
This is like Joel Schumacher toyetics, like to a T.
Well, literally with the plastic lips, but. But yeah, so Superman arrives wearing a protective plastic coating. He probably got it from Star Labs in a pinch, would be my guess. It's an old school thing that like Superman in the 50s absolutely would do.
Can I say the thing that everyone's thinking though?
What?
You know what I'm going to say. It's vaguely condom-like.
Well, they have a line about that. I was going to wait till we get to the line.
If they didn't, honestly, Dragon, if they didn't have the line, I'd be like, okay, whatever. Maybe they, maybe it was unintentional. But I don't know. I think they kind of knew what they were doing with the line in there.
I'm just saying with the rest of the innuendo in the episode, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, it's a clever way. Think about it here that he deflects the electricity and Parasite can't touch him. That's a great idea. It looks silly as all get out.
Yeah.
As a kid, not specifically this episode, but this falls in line with it. Every time Superman wore the lead suit or he was in like the scuba gear, every time we did the variant see with Superman, the space suit and everything, or something like this, it's like the rare times Superman did not wear the cape, and it always drove me nuts as a kid to have the action figure but no cape.
Ooh, yeah, I could see that.
But it was like this. He needs the cape. He's not Superman. Like, I know it's in the show, but come on. So, anyways, Livewire has the line like, "Well, what do you know? The Boy Scout brought protection."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
By the way, Dragon, have you seen the Spider-Man popcorn buckets?
I have.
A little odd, no.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them, Tiki. You don't mean the building. You mean the...
no, I mean the one where it literally looks like he has a big old gob of cum in his hand.
Well, that's the web shooter.
Yeah, I realize it's the web shooter dragon, but the visual is like a little uncanny.
See, until you said that, I was just thinking nice, clean,
Oh, come
fun
on.
there. You
No,
just
no. Popcorn buckets, they knew what they were doing, Dragon. They knew what they were doing with that one.
come on. Why you gotta make it filthy?
Spider come, spider
Okay,
come.
come on, come on. That's not.
All right,
You
I'm
know.
done. I'm done. I'm done.
And here, I thought you were better than the other guys on stage with that stuff.
The
I'm ashamed of
stickiness
you.
is a spider fucking prize. Look out. Dragon, I'm trying to be like the other girls, okay?
Shame. All right.
Anyways. Look out, here comes the spider come. Anyways.
Folks, I apologize for him. I don't know what to tell you.
This is the type of fucking like golden like A+ material you'll get if you book me, ladies and gentlemen. Spider
See, folks,
come,
this is
yeah.
why I mentioned it. If you have a sleeping deficiency of some kind, seriously, that's what you want to plan your week around. That'll help you get the Z's you desperately need when you see his act. Because I mean, you'll be the lack of that. That'll help ease you to sleep.
Oh, Christ! All right. Anyways, let's round this thing out.
Okay, let's see. So anyway, we have another Daily Tim kind of moment here where he says, "I didn't realize there were rules." You know, the parents like, "It ain't fair. I didn't realize there were rules." It's a very straight arrow Boy Scout kind of line.
Uh-huh.
After Superman tosses Parasite into the liquid nitrogen tanks, which gives him an idea, they throw the liquid nitrogen on him, which makes Superman sorbet. And basically, we have another good line, less innuendo laden, just more like, "Do not use a plastic seal is broken." Which, I mean, for an electric-based character, it's an easy line.
It's solid advice. It's solid advice.
Yep. Anyway, yes. So then we have so now he is no longer protected. Superman's on the back foot. Parasite is draining him, but not too much. And before the Blue Boy can snap, crackle, and pop, as Parasite puts it, as Livewire puts it, Parasite gets what he was promised. He grabs Livewire, and he's giving her a taste of her own medicine here. He's like, he's going to betray her. He's going to, she's been taken advantage of here. She's getting all the energy sucked out of her. So we have again, I like it builds from the conflicting MOs of these characters. She's about revenge and chaos. He's about feeding. He's a leech. He's all about his next meal. She's all about, she just wants petty revenge. So that's the cost of petty revenge. And, it's like said, you said no for the last time, baby, and just, knocks her out. He wants to keep them both alive so he can feed on them, which is creepy, but, it's his MO. It's what he does.
Yeah,
it's like the whole nature of the scorpion thing she didn't count on. So then we have our third act, Parasite and Superman here, but this is really great. Superman's on the back foot. He's been drained, and Parasite's using Superman's powers to find the weakened Superman. The big problem, Parasite now has Superman's memories again, which again is that interesting challenge with him in the DCAU. And the moment he's asking about Lois, like, okay, that tears it. Superman uses this really clever idea. He runs to the janitor's closet, which I think leads to the best line of the episode, by the way, for me. I really love this. It's not Daily Tim lines. It's really good. Janitor's closet, dead end. Believe me, I know. Given he was a janitor, it's like, that's really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good line for sure.
So he grabs a mop, which he uses his heat vision which basically Parasite uses heat vision to set on fire. And because he tried dousing with the water cooler, made him short out for a second. But now he used the sprinkler system. Ingenious move. Absolutely.
I really like the timing on that too. Yeah, it is again very cinematic moment. This episode has a few like really good cinematic moments in it.
I love that Superman's so silent during this battle too. He doesn't say a word during this climax until after it.
Uh-huh.
So so he's shorted out. We end the episode because again he had Livewire's powers too, which is pretty clever. So at the end, Livewire's she's trying to chew Parasite out, like, hey, I'm gonna remember this face. And Turpin says, like, hey, look at he's nothing there. He barely remembers who he is, lady. He ain't gonna remember who you are.
That's a savage line.
Yeah, and just seeing like Parasite again, just these yet again. Superman again. He should play the numbers, man. He's just looking at how much he lucked out. Like, well, he's been shorted at again. He's asking Dan Turpin, "Do you think you really think he's not going to remember anything?" And again, this to me is like the charm of Dan. It's like that Jack Kirby kind of New Yorker kind of like guy from the Bronx kind of feel, where he says, "Nah, he's oatmeal." It's a reassuring line, but it has just that working man gruffness to it, and I love it.
You know what? It kind of reminds me of like a line that like Cherry from Daredevil would say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of that kind of vibe, like just old school, like police chief.
Yeah. So
Right.
he says like, "Nah, he's oatmeal," and this is so cute to me. Like just showing you how much Dan Turpin has come around on Superman. You need a lift?
Yeah, totally.
He says, "Nah, it's a nice night for flying," which again, Daily Tim.
I think that's got to be the Daily Tim Dragon. I don't know. I think it's got to be.
I think
It's a perfect Superman line.
Yeah, it's a nice night for a flight.
And like I said, I really love that ending. Genuinely.
Yeah, we have some comments we should probably read here.
Yep. For sure.
Yeah, I think Kokias entered during your stupid joke.
I feel like I had.
Yeah, so thanks.
Comes a web any size, a sticky mess, a spider prize. Love it. Anyways, okay, Agent Beast says, "I'm surprised that there hasn't been a world's finest movie where Parasite steals Superman's powers. I imagine it would be played like a horror movie, and a cool twist uses the anti-Superman bat suit. That's a cool pitch. Yeah. I don't necessarily think that Parasite's like a marquee enough character. Like, I couldn't really see them using Parasite in a movie, generally speaking, unless, I mean, James Gunn, he's known to pull out the obscure characters. So I don't know. How obscure is Parasite, Dragon?
I mean, that's the thing. Superman does not have a long rose gallery.
Right.
So
right.
He's like, I think he might de facto be in the top 5, but not because there's a lot of options. Like if there's like 10 Superman villains, he makes the cut. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
Let's see. Agent Beast also says, like I said, with the all bite no bark analogy, Parasite is a lot smarter than Livewire. Gives her credit. She's probably thinking men are fools.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And then Kogias, he's saying, to be honest, the pairing of Livewire and Parasite felt a bit random to me. I think that the Batman episode where Livewire, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn teamed up to be more memorable.
Oh, yeah.
And if DC and Marvel work together for another Crosswire, I think that Livewire and Electro teaming up would be fun. That would be. Yeah. That would be. I can see that.
Well, they kind of did in the recent thing. They were present. It wasn't specifically just them, but they combined Superman and Spider-Man's rogues gallery in a big old ambush. I think they both were there, so kind of.
Nice. And then a comment we can all agree on, Dragon. Dan Turpin is great. All right.
These are facts.
Okay, so final thoughts. I mean, I'll kind of roll into this comment with the pair up stuff. Like I do genuinely really like this episode. I think it's got like I said, some maybe unintentionally pretty deep stuff to say about workplace harassment and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting and ahead of its time. But I don't know. I just think that the staging on some of the action is really good. Dan Turpin's got a great little supporting role, excellent ending. Like it's just a nice little Dragon, like you said, honestly, when you said like the whole think of it as like a big Looney Tune, like that kind of made me soften on it even more. Like I do genuinely like this episode just as that, and not every episode has to be this deep philosophical thing. And I don't know, I like this episode just as a cartoon more than anything else. I think it really does its job well in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, look, Double Dose is not my go-to. It's not one of my favorites, but it's again, it has really good action beats, and I think it's fun, and well, whatever the innuendo, but the whole I look at it with the whole kind of we literalize the power sex thing. It's kind of funny. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but yeah, it's we have some neat bits. Again, I love Lois giving him the idea for the insulated coating. I think it's a really really clever idea, and the third act kind of holds up. So I mean, when I was watching the episode, I was getting engrossed in it, which I didn't expect. I mean, mind you, I knew it was gonna I knew I was gonna somewhat enjoy it, but I didn't know I thought it was gonna be more of like, okay, well, it's just kind of one we got to get through. I didn't really think like, oh man, it's kind of grew on me as I went through it again. So
yeah, I like this more than I thought I would for sure. Okay, so take us out, Dragon. What's the next one?
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. Having an enlightening encounter with an upgraded former foe, Superman at the mercy of dark storm clouds on the horizon. Superman, forced to think faster than the speed of light.
On the next visit to the Fortress of Recaps with Solar Power.